about to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Down at the Dock with Channel Surfing. We're down here on a dark boat. It is dark outside. Got the boat show coming up this weekend. Super excited about that. We will be there all day Friday. And then we'll also be there on Saturday and Sunday in and out looking at things. Hoping to meet people. So if you're down at the boat show, be sure to if you see us, stop us and say hi.
Which is February 4th, 5th, and 6th that we'll be there.
Correct.
And I think it goes from the 4th to the 12th.
Right.
And it's down at... what's it called now?
Lumen Field.
Lumen
Field down in Seattle. Mm-hmm. Yep,
right.
Super excited about that. I'm looking forward to looking at the Cutwater 28 they're supposed to have there. It's the new 28-foot Cutwater with twin Yamaha outboards. I'm looking for the new 2022 R27 outboard to see what's different in the 2022 model versus the 21 and before. Also looking to check out the luxury edition with the lithium batteries and see how they have that set up. That should be pretty cool.
And hopefully we get some good footage and some good stuff for you guys for the upcoming weeks.
Yep. So, and also looking at accessories and stuff. I know Kevin from Premier Custom Ceramic Coatings. He'll
Sorry,
be there.
Kevin.
Yeah, he'll be there too. But be sure to stop by his booth as well.
Yeah. I forgot what booth it was. He had his booth number in the post.
Yeah, I remember.
I'll throw it in here to say what booth he's going to be at. Okay, so with the weather getting somewhat better, although we had some hail snow today and it went to 33 degrees, we thought we'd talk about going to the San Juans, different anchorages, different...
Yeah, we spent a lot of time in San Juan, so we thought we'd just kind of summarize, the different locations. So
if you've never been there, maybe you're taking delivery of your boat this June or July, and before you get your boat shipped, you want to hang out in the San Juan. So we're just going to go over a few things.
So I'll start with marinas. Marinas are always the easy ones. So in the San Juans, probably the most popular marinas are Roche Harbor, Friday Harbor, Deer Harbor, Lopez Islander Resort, all really popular places. So talk about this briefly. Roche Harbor is probably the furthest away of all of them, but there's lots of stuff to do at Roche Harbor. They've got shops, grocery store, a couple, some restaurants.
Bunch of little shops, and then they have on the weekends in the summer they have the street vendors that come out with all their handmade stuff that they do. So
there's always something to do walking around, and then there's some hiking trails. You can go up to the mausoleum and stuff. It's a nice little hike and stuff to get up there. There's a outdoor art?
The art park.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, outdoor art stuff to look at. Let's see. Friday Harbor is really popular. Obviously there's a ferry that comes in and out of there, so it's a very busy port. On shore, it's an easy walk to shore, but of course it's not much for hiking as far as like trails and stuff. But there's plenty of shops and stuff around and restaurants, and just kind of cool to hang out.
You can rent a bike and go to Roche Harbor.
Yeah, you could go from Roche Harbor from Friday Harbor. Yeah. Friday Harbor would also be a good place if you had guests that you wanted to meet with and you were up there, that they could take a ferry to Friday Harbor and meet you on your boat and then go cruise the San Juans. Roche Harbor is the same way, because obviously you can take the ferry to Friday Harbor and then you can drive from Friday Harbor to Roche Harbor. Deer Harbor's all isolated up there on Orcas Island. Really cute marina, a little bit smaller than obviously Friday and Roche Harbor. They've got a couple restaurants and stuff on the dock. Not a whole lot there. There's a nice beach and stuff. And there's plenty of places to go walk and stuff up there on Deer Harbor. Lopez Islander Resort, we like. There's a lot of outdoor sitting areas, picnic benches. There's a restaurant there.
It's also about 3/4 of a mile to the grocery store, to the ice cream shop, to the fudge shop, to all the stuff is on the water. So as you're coming into Lopez Islander, if you look over to your left, you'll see all the stores, and you can walk there pretty.
Yeah, I should comment this. So Lopez Islander also is, it's in Fisherman's Bay, and there's 2 marinas there. IMC, Island Marine Center, and Lopez Islander Resort.
We like both of them.
Yeah, we stayed at both. They're both nice. And obviously it's a short walk
right next
from...
to each
Yeah, they're next to it. So it's a short walk to the restaurant from IMC versus Lopez Islander. It's not that far. The one thing I will say is when you're going into Fisherman's Bay, pay attention to the tide. At 0 water, low tide... the harbor master there says you have 4 feet of water at the entrance, and it's a pretty narrow entrance coming in too. And there's a underground rock that's closer on the shore side. They tell you to avoid. So you want to hug the side closest to the buoy. Stay close to the buoy as you come in. We were there last year, and we were having some negative tides, like -2, -3 foot tides. Literally, if you didn't make it out in time, you weren't getting out. And if you wanted to come back, you had to wait for the tide to roll in. And it was actually kind of funny because I remember the harbor master was like, shoot, the tide's going to come in at about 4:30, and nobody could get in, from like 11 in the morning and, whatever. It was or just where the water level was. So it was like a parade of boats that started at 4:30 coming in.
And it really was.
It was, yeah.
I thought he was joking when he said it, but no.
Yeah, it was Memorial Day weekend last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, and at low tide, usually there was, I think it's buoy number 4 or 7. There's a green buoy there that'll end up being on land. It'll be laying on its side. It's kind of funny to see that at low tide. But you just watch the tides when you come in. Like as long as it's above 0 water, there's plenty of water to get your boat through there. Based on your draft, obviously.
Well, there's other things. If you have your dinghy, you can go over to that little, where the little shipwreck is there on the, right when you come in, there's like a little beach area. That's great for the dogs. They take the leashes off and let them play. Mm-hmm.
Actually, in our intro, that scene with Mopar on the leash, that's taken at Lopez Islander on the beach, out playing in the water. That was really good. So, and let's see, then Point Roberts, that was fun. Point Roberts isn't really a San Juan. You get up through the Straits of Georgia, a little bit longer ride, but we wanted to include Point Roberts as well. It's an interesting piece of property. It's actually landlocked with Canada, so the only way to drive to Point Roberts is through Canada. But it's 5 square miles of USA property, and there's a big marina there, really nice marina and stuff. There's a restaurant there. We had a really nice dinner there, real friendly and stuff. All the people there. Of course, we were there. It was deserted because of COVID. They've been landlocked. So hopefully that relieves or eases up going forward for them.
It really is a nice place. I mean, the few restaurants, couple bars, and. We met a lady that took us on a tour. If you haven't seen that video, it's a pretty cool video. But I guess I was surprised to see how the borders were. Like the one in the video where we're coming along the water and you see there's 2 guys, one on each side of a sign. Was it a sign?
Yeah.
And then that's the border. And they're just on each side talking to each other.
Right, standing on the beach. 5 feet from each other. One's in USA, one's in Canada.
And that time you couldn't get in Canada or either way. Yeah. That was pretty cool.
So I'm going to talk about some anchorages. So, specifically I want to talk about Ewing Cove, Echo Bay, which is really Sucia Island, right, and Roche Harbor, which really, if you talk about Roche, you're also talking about Reed Harbor. So Stewart Island has Reed Harbor and Roche Harbor. Roche is on the north side, Reed is on the south. Reed is totally protected. It's a super long, but rather large anchorage. Not a lot of good cell coverage in there. We did lunch in there once, and really hard for me to work from the boat in Reed Harbor. But Roche, on the north side, I can get cell coverage off of the Canadian towers. Depending where I'm anchored over in Roche. So that's one of the reasons we like Roche a lot better than Reed.
I guess it also depends on who your carrier is too, because in some areas the AT&T works better, and others
Yeah, but the point is Stewart Island with Reed and Prevost Harbor, they're both state parks, and so is Sucia Island is an entire marine state park. So the nice thing on the marine state parks is they have dock space usually, they have mooring balls usually, and oftentimes they have a rope line that you can tie up to. Now, a rope line's kind of weird. It counts as dock space, but there's no dock. It's just two poles that stick out of the water with a rope between them, and you would just moor alongside it and tie off to the rope.
And then somebody else could be right next to you, tied
Right.
off to the same rope.
Right. So it kind of gives you the feeling that you're tied to a dock, but you can't step off the dock.
Don't step off the dock.
Right.
Splash.
Yeah. You know, obviously the dock space goes first, mooring balls go second. What we've noticed is, checkout time is usually like 11 or 12, and by 1 o'clock all that stuff's taken, right? So you got to get there early or do a weekday, and such.
Well, in the summertime, I don't think it matters if it was weekday or not, because we did the 10-day San Juans a couple times now, and
yeah. But over at Sucia Island, Echo Bay is rather large for an anchorage. Fits lots of boats and stuff in there. Ewing Cove's off to the east of Echo Bay, and there's probably 4 or 5 mooring balls in there. You could probably anchor one boat in Ewing Cove, and then there's a really nice beach up there. Actually, in our intro, the scene of Nuka walking on the beach, that's actually at Ewing Cove,
which is probably my favorite place. I think it's because it only holds I think there's 4 or 5 mooring balls, and then you might be able to get one other boat that's too big for the mooring ball anchored in there. But it's just a small little cove, and
the beach is really nice, so you can drive your dinghy up there, and you're not going to puncture holes and stuff in it. Great for off leash for the dogs. Sucia Island has trails all over it. You can go hiking, all the way around the entire island. It's actually kind of cool because Shallow Bay is on the north side, and you can hike from Shallow Bay over to Echo Bay, which is very similar. Like in
didn't we do that?
No, but in over at Stewart Island with Prevost and Reed Harbor, you can walk from the dock on Prevost to the dock at Reed, and it's a short walk.
Prevost is kind of cool because you go over to Stewart Island and you have that long hike to the lighthouse. You can do the school.
That's right. Yeah.
So if you like hiking, those things are great. They even have a place for tents. So if you have friends or you want to throw the kids ashore, get the kids off the boat. Then put them on a tent there. Yeah, they have a couple
up there,
campgrounds
Prevost and Reed Harbor, that you can camp on shore. Up there, and then of course from Prevost or Reed, I think it's a shorter walk from Prevost, but you can walk up to Turnpoint Lighthouse.
I think the lady that does the little store thing that they have there, the lady we talked to, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name, but they're the ones that have the t-shirts and stuff, and you just, you pay. They have a little
it's an honor system.
Yeah.
They've got,
t-shirts
and stuff.
And
take a
different
t-shirt
things,
and then pay for it when you get home.
But she said that if you want to get to the lighthouse and you don't want the long walk, go from the city dock there and just walk straight down the road.
Right, city dock on the Prevost side.
And if you want to go the longer one, which I think, what did she say, it was 4 or 5 miles? You go where the other dock is on Stewart Island, where you can get, 8?
Right, over
6
by Reed
boats
Harbor.
or something over by Reed Harbor.
Yeah.
And then you can do that walk, and it winds you down.
And then also at Prevost, there's Satellite Island there. It's actually owned by the YMCA, but that's one of my favorite. Take the dinghy over to Satellite Island with the dogs and stuff, and they've got these pretty nautical camps set up. That are just like covered sheds or something. But it's pretty cool. And there's lots of places to go hiking all over Satellite Island, and the scenery and stuff there is really pretty looking, especially when you're looking on the north side out over the water into Canada.
Another thing we could talk about mooring balls. How do you hook up to a mooring ball? We get asked that all the time.
So the best thing to do with a mooring ball is take a long line, tie it to your bow cleat, walk it all the way back into your cockpit, and then just pull up alongside of it and hook it that way.
And then you just walk it up to the bow.
Yeah, and tie it off.
That's the easiest we've found. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of tools, gadgets you can get.
Yeah, Mantis has a whole set of tackle. They've got a mooring ball hook that actually clips on.
Yeah, that you just stand up in the bow, right, and hook it.
Well, it's a metal hook that goes onto the mooring ball, because if you run a line through it as the boat swings, then the line's going to go back and forth through the mooring ball, and that'll cause chafing, and it eventually could break the line. Kind of stuff. So that's why a hook is oftentimes better. But if you're just doing an overnighter and it's summertime and it's calm seas, and the chances of that happening are pretty slim. But certainly, like if you get into a storm, things change drastically. If you're out on anchor, you don't want any kind of chafing and stuff to happen. But most of us avoid that kind of weather if we can. So talking about anchorage here, since we mentioned that, just some kind of tips and tricks on anchorage that I've picked up. So Mantis makes a bridle. I switched to starting using that, because what a bridle is basically, it's two lines that are tied together. So once I go to a mooring ball or I drop the anchor, I take the bridle and I connect it with a snubber to the road, and that takes the tension off of the windlass, and it also distributes the weight from the anchorage to the port and starboard bow cleats, right? So that's even pressure on both sides of the boat. That way I don't have any line going through the bow that would cause any chafing, or there's nothing rubbing against anything.
So if you had to anchor in some higher winds, just because you had to duck in and anchor somewhere where it may not be the best protective, but a bridle would probably be your best bet, because you're not going to have to worry about chafing.
Bridle's always going to be preferred. It's going to be the safest way. You don't always have to have a bridle. Like I said, we've anchored many times without it and didn't have any issues. But in a storm where the boat gets moved all over the place, or waves or something like that come in, then chafing can become a real concern.
I also think anchoring, your anchor, I think, makes a difference too. So the anchor that the boat came with was the Bruce
It's
anchor?
A Bruce style anchor. It's a claw.
Yeah.
And claws are okay.
It worked good, but I think I just got nervous because it felt like it could move. And so we upgraded.
Yeah, the Rockna actually grabs better.
We upgraded to the Rockna.
And here's one other tip too, right?
Really
So
good.
you get out in the water and you're looking at the anchorage and you're like, where am I supposed to anchor so I don't swing into another boat? And you look at all the other boats and go, God, they look really close.
This is
right?
a great tip.
Right. They look really close. Objects are usually further away than they actually appear in an anchorage. At least that's been our experience. So you're like, well, how do you tell how far apart they are, right? Well, you know how much road you're going to put out. You can do the math. So I'm going to put out 150 foot, right? So you can say, well, my swing radius is going to be 150 foot. How far away is the nearest boat to me, right? Well, you could go buy a rangefinder, or you could just turn your radar on, and in the anchorage, and the radar will show you all the blips, and you can just touch the blip on your chart plotter, and it'll say, that's 375 feet away, and you're like,
And I swear it always looks like you're 50, 60 feet away from the boat.
But that tip's worked really well for us to make sure we're far enough away.
Yeah, you don't
from
need a
other boats.
rangefinder or anything. Use the tools you have.
Yep.
Use the tools you have. Again, if you're going to be at the boat show Friday, Saturday, Sunday, come find us. We should be around the Ranger Tug or just roaming around. And until the next video, stay tuned for
More channel surfing.
See ya.